Can you hear us, Melissa?
Yes, I can hear you. Can you hear me okay? Are you guys ready?
Yes.
Okay, at this time, I'd like to call to order the regular trustee board meeting at April 19th, 2020 at 6:30 p.m.
Second.
Can we have a roll call, please?
Asherle?
Yes.
Swedek?
Yes.
Augustine?
Here. And this time, I'd like everyone to stand for to salute the flag.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Very good. Jack, I'm going to go through the first two meeting minutes and then I'll have you do the emergency meeting from April 13th. So at this time, I'd like to make a motion to approve the regular and special meeting minutes from April 5th, 2022.
Melissa, we're gonna table the regular meeting minutes because I did them late and Jack and Monique haven't had a chance to review them, even though you did.
Okay.
So the 4-5 special meeting, 4-13 emergency meeting, and then the work session minutes from what was that, the 12th, 4/12?
4/12. Okay.
Yeah, those would be the three sets.
Moved as amended.
Second.
Asherle?
Yes.
Augustine?
I'm going to say yes to all except for 413. I'm going to abstain from those minutes.
Okay, and Swedek?
Yes.
Very good. So we have a special guest in the audience tonight, Debbie Yatsko.
Yes.
Debbie, I'm attending virtually, so I apologize. If you want to welcome yourself to the podium, there's a microphone there and everyone in the virtual audience can hear you. Thank you for being here today. We briefly spoke about the health department and how necessary it is to our county. So I'll give you the floor.
Great. Thank you so much for giving me the opportunity to come and speak here this evening. As you said, my name is Debbie Kubina Yatsko. I work for the health department, but tonight I am here on my own time to talk about the future of the health department. So the Medina County Health Department has been serving the residents of Hinckley for over 100 years now. And in the beginning, we were really focused on disease containment, scarlet fever and yellow fever, things like that. However, we've moved and we've evolved to where we're now focused on disease prevention and the promotion of health. So most people know us by our business name, the Medina County Health Department, but on May 3rd, we're going to be on the ballot under our legal name, which is the Medina County Combined General Health District. And so back in the 1960s, there was a merger that brought together different entities and formed one health entity for the community. And we've been in existence ever since as the Medina County Health Department. And so what I really want to talk about is a little bit of the services that we provide. Just briefly, we do a lot more, but just to give you an idea, we do all of the birth and death certificates for residents in the community. We inspect all food operations, schools, pools, campgrounds, do mosquito control, rabies control, car seat programs, the Women, Infants, and Children's program, newborn home visits. So we do a lot of different things. And one of the things I'm most proud of is that we have a health center, and our health center provides primary medical care and primary dental care for all residents of the county. We don't turn anyone away, regardless of ability to pay. So we have doctors and dentists, and we can provide regular primary care, work physicals, sports physicals, immunizations, travel immunizations. So anyone that's traveling anywhere around the world, would contact the health department. We would help them get all the immunizations they need. And our dental clinic does everything from regular cleanings to emergency dental procedures, crowns, root canals, dentures. And again, it's regardless of ability to pay. So I'm really proud that we can serve all of the community in that way. Part of our growth has been in the area of technology. So we've worked really hard to try to make it easier for residents to utilize our services. So we've done upgrades to our website. We've put in a new upgraded electronic medical record system. We're able to do a lot more electronically. That, of course, comes at a cost, which is something that we've been dealing with, along with keeping up with being competitive for our licensed providers and being able to attract, really good quality licensed providers. And then also, we've dealt with changes at the state level. It used to be that the grants we pulled down from the state would provide us our funding up front. They've changed that, and now we have to actually pay expenses first and then get reimbursed. So with that change, it requires us to have about $1 million a year in our coffers so that we're able to pay our expenses and then get reimbursed quarterly. So we've been dealing with these kind of changes throughout the past few years. So what we're asking for on May 3rd is a 0.7 mil levy renewal and a small increase of 0.15 mils. The amount generated by that increase will offset the technology and grant change costs that we're experiencing. So, of course, anytime we're going to ask for an increase, we really carefully consider the request and what's actually needed. The 0.7 mil renewal would just not provide enough funds for the projected 10-year period that it needs to cover. We've been asked, why not a replacement levy? Well, a replacement levy would bring in more funding than we actually need. And we don't want to do that either. So we don't want to, be a burden on taxpayers. In addition, because of a change in the law, if we put the 0.7 mils on as a renewal, there is some state funding that we can receive. If we turn it into a replacement levy, we lose that state funding and it puts more burden on the taxpayer again. So that's why we decided to go with the 0.7 renewal with a small 0.15 mil increase. We have not asked for an increase in 30 years. So we think we've been very good stewards of taxpayer dollars. The cost of the ballot measure is $14.70 per year on a $100,000 valuation. Of that amount, only $5.24 is actually the increase being requested. So by renewing the levy with the small increase, it ensures an efficient health department that's here to meet local needs. So I'm happy to answer any questions anybody might have.
Well, I did hear a comment last time that was pitched that it was cost of 2 pizzas. Now I think we're down to 1 considering the price. So it's a worthwhile endeavor for sure.
Mm-hmm, exactly. And I like to say, when people ask me, well, they say they don't use the health department, I always ask, have you gone out and ate at a restaurant? And do you hope that restaurant was inspected? Because then you've used the health department in some way, shape, or form. So, so like you said, we were very careful in considering how much we were going to ask for, tried to make it as minimal as possible. And I have some handouts, if anybody's.
Thanks for the perspective.
Debbie, for the public's purpose, I just want to add that this was on the ballot. And I think initially when the first votes came in, it looked like it had passed, but it actually had failed. And can you tell us by how many votes it had failed?
By 7 votes.
That's what I thought, 7 votes. So that's why you're coming back. And I visited the health department and seen some of the things they've done there. And it's just a incredible value to our community.
Thank you so much. Yes, that's when you wonder if your vote counts. It counts.
It counts. Thank you, Debbie.
Thank you.
Does anyone have any questions for Debbie?
Thank you.
Thank you, dear.
Thank you.
Oh, whoops. Throwing stuff.
Throwing it at me.
No questions?
Thank you.
All right. Police Chief Sedner has an excused absence this evening.
What's
So
that?
yes.
We need to open that bid first.
Oh, okay. Go ahead. I'm sorry. I did not see that. You're right. I went right past it. 6:31.
Ish.
Ish.
Got one bid from M. Pizzuti Construction and Development. Okay, there's somewhere. Mike, do you know what page this would be on? You want to find it? I'm running out of pages here. Oh, here we go. Sorry. Oh, boy. All right. Base bid is $77,564 with a $576.68 alternate number one partial east elevation add if chosen. So it's over 10%.
It's much higher than we had anticipated.
Yeah, it's in excess of the 10% of the 60,000 estimate. So,
Move to reject.
yeah, I mean, not much else we can do. You have any ideas, Mike? I don't know.
Not much we can pull out.
I know, and there's not much we can do except rebid it with a higher architect's estimate on it, if so chosen at some later point. But yeah, you have no other option but to reject it because it's in excess of 10% of the $60,000 architect's estimate.
All right, as such, make a motion to reject the bid received today for the east wall, the old fire station project, due to the bid being in excess of the 10% overage of the estimate allowed.
So that'll be resolution 01. Second. Okay.
Second.
All right. Monique seconded it.
Okay.
So I'm going to call the roll. Asherle?
Yes.
Swidek?
Yes.
Augustine?
Yes.
So that's just going to be the story of this year.
Yes, it is. Okay. Do you want to add anything else, Jack?
No, it's disappointing. I'll go back to the, see what we can do as far as the estimate.
I will contact these contractors, Jedco, because I was expecting them a bit from them. We got a few phone calls, so I just wanted to see what their ideas were.
Great. Thank you.
Okay.
All right. Thank you for all your help.
One of these days, we're going to get that wall done.
Thought third time would be the charm, huh? Oh, darn.
Okay.
All right. Well, we'll move right along. As I said earlier, Police Chief Setner is not in attendance tonight. He has an excused absence. So Chief Grossenbaugh, we'll give you the floor.
Thank you. Good evening. First item is request to waiver the EMS billing fee for service for Officer Kinney, who was injured while he was working down here. They called us out to render care. He was not transported, and our billing service bills for non-residents for treat release. So it's a $150 fee that I'd like to see if the board would consider waivering, since he was injured in capacity down here of his work. It was asked by him if we would waiver that. And I asked Martha, and she said to present it to the board. So,
And that was when he was here volunteering.
yes,
for
yes,
the
correct. That is
Kids
the Cops with Kids
Clause.
clause.
Okay.
Yes, yes.
Yeah. I don't have a problem with that.
Is that something?
You need to
we've
make a
done in the past?
motion to,
Have we done that in the past?
We've never had a injury for volunteer, like one of our officers like that was not transported from the scene.
Melissa, anything?
Not really. He was there. I was there that morning. And he was there volunteering for the Cops, Kids and Claws. He runs the entire thing. And so he stayed all morning. He was never transported.
He didn't need gloves that morning because his hand was.
Yes, yes.
stitched up. So, I would like to make a motion to waive the EMS billing fee for services to Detective Kinney from Hinckley Police Department. Do you mean to say when it happened, Martha? Or
the amount is fine.
$150.
for $150.
Second.
Okay. Asherle,
Yes.
Swedek,
Yes.
Augustine.
Yes.
And you'll let,
Yeah, I'll contact billing tomorrow.
Okay.
Request appropriations not to exceed $350 for turnout gear boots for firefighter EMT Bianca Inman from Fire Safety Services. That also includes the shipping rates or anticipated shipping rates for the boots.
And this is what we discussed last week.
Yep.
So moved.
Asherle,
Yes.
Swedek,
Second, yes.
Augustine.
Yes.
Request to enter into the one-year contract with Jackson Comfort Heating Systems for heating complete maintenance, visit filter replacement, and one cooling complete maintenance with filter replacement at a cost of $788. We do this, we've done this for the last couple of years to have them do our annual maintenance or biannual maintenance on our heating and cooling system on the fire station.
Okay, so this is an every year expense?
Yes.
Okay.
Is this, do we not use Precision for them?
We went through them because they actually know our heating and cooling system. When we originally talked to Precision, they were not aware, or they had not maintained that company or manufacturer before, because it's a zone system. It's such a large zone system. Because I checked into that when I took over as chief to see if we could, but they were not comfortable with doing it at that time.
Okay.
Is this who we went through also? Because this is like the tune-up, right?
Yes,
Did you contact them when it went out?
When the emergency repair, yes.
Okay.
Yes, this is the same company we've been using for all our heating and cooling maintenance from when we had a thermostats go down before, and then for the emergency repair that they just did, and then three or 4 years worth of maintenance servicing, annual maintenance of it as well.
Okay, and you're happy with them?
Yes, I am very happy with them.
Okay, so moved.
Second,
Asherle,
Yes.
Swedek,
yes.
Augustine.
Yes.
I got a couple quick items here. So as I said last year, the association received a Home Depot grant to provide all the roofing supplies for the barn that's on the fire station property. And Hinckley Roofing said they would go ahead and roof the building for us free of charge. They have reached out and said they would be happy to provide everything, the labor, all the supplies. They're in process of securing all the supplies to donate through the association to redo that roof. They wanted to make it a big giving back to the community event. And then the Home Depot grant the Home Depot grant will be able to be used to build a storeroom in there and add interior for training features of rooms and stairways and everything like that. I don't have details on when they're looking to do this, probably when we start getting drier weather and no snow, but that was awesome. They reached out of the blue and said, hey, they're working with Home Depot in Medina. They were working with, I think, ABC Rental. They're working with, there was another company too that reached out and said they would be willing to help improve the barn to make it a training building for us.
Great.
Very generous of them.
Very generous of them.
And congratulations
Thank
to you
you.
on that. Because
Thank you.
You applied for those grants and you got them.
Yep.
So this is a
And
huge.
been looking forward to making that a training building for some time as well.
Yeah.
I'd like to ask if the board would, on the May 3rd meeting, recognize Lydia Walkna for her nearly 20 years of service, especially to the education of the school, the children in Hinckley. She retired. We accepted her resignation last month, and I'd just like to publicly recognize her at the meeting if she is available that day. Would that be okay to start making the arrangements?
Absolutely. Yeah, you and I can touch base on this.
Sure. Yep.
I think we said Thursday. We're gonna
Yep.
chat, right?
Yeah. Wednesday, tomorrow,
Yeah.
we're going to. I'd also like to ask at the next work session if we can have more conversation about the levy. I have a couple other options to share with everybody. And if anybody has any questions, please feel free to jot them down. If you would like to email me them beforehand, if you want to, ask them then, but I would like to give everybody, like to have that conversation because the renewal that we have on the books is coming up fast and we need to file for that.
Yes, we have to get moving on
Yep.
that. I agree.
And the last item is
Any objections?
I'm sorry. The last item is we have another blood drive, May 21st. The one we had 2 weeks ago was tied our most pints collected, 48 pints.
Wow.
Wow.
Excellent.
Great job, Jess.
Thank you. That's all the hard work of my wife on the blood drive. I just set up tables and chairs in the old fire station.
It's got a nice fresh coat of paint in there too.
Oh, good,
so,
good.
Yes.
Good. We washed the floors out the night before and all that. So,
Great.
but thank you. That's all I have.
Thank you.
Chief, if you want to give me a graphic or if Jen has a graphic to add into the newsletter for that May 21st blood drive, I'm happy
Sure
to
thing.
do that.
Sure thing. We'll do that.
And then did you reach out to Hinckley Elementary with regard to Lydia?
Yeah, I'll have to check because I don't think we ever heard anything back. So I will we'll email them or try and actually call them tomorrow to see if they would want to have any of their teachers or former students or anything like that come. I know the association's going to kind of have like little snacks and treats down there. Myself and Maddie are going to go ahead and buy Lydia a large Olive Garden salad because that's her favorite. And she asked for chocolate cake. So I'm going to make sure she has chocolate cake.
That's fantastic. Thank you.
Thank you. That's all I have.
Very good. Does anyone else in the audience or anyone on the board have any further questions for Chief before we let him go? And I cannot honestly see the audience, so.
No one
Nobody
has
raised
their
their
hand up in the waiting room and no one has their hand up in the meeting room.
Very good. So Chief, thank you for being here tonight. You are free to go.
Thank you very much. Everybody have a good week.
Thanks, Chief.
Thank you.
We said,
Thank you.
yes, that was tomorrow.
Tomorrow, 3 p.m. Yes.
Oh, 3. That's right.
Yes,
It's in my
yes.
calendar. Yeah.
I'll talk to you tomorrow.
All right. Thank you.
Service Superintendent Bahari.
How's everybody doing tonight?
Great. Were you busy this morning?
We did not go out this morning.
No?
No, so we just kind of let it slowly melt off. So there's only a few things I have tonight. First one is the road work notification letter for the Valley Brook residents. I'd sent you guys out that on the Google Docs to kind of take a look at it.
Mm-hmm.
The only thing that changed that I had put on there was the date, which after talking with Angie, they had kind of changed things around a little bit. It's going to be for Wednesday, 5/4 at 5:30.
5/4
Yes.
at 5:30.
So I have sent over the letter to Suzanne. I need to get her a map of the residents we're going to send it to, and then hopefully get that out by the end of this week. So that's the plan.
That'd be great.
That way we can get them as much notification as possible.
Very good.
Let's see. Second thing on the list is the historical building, the HVAC update. They came in Monday. Everything's said and done, and everything's working. So
Great.
did they send you any invoices yet, Martha?
Not yet.
Okay. But yeah, they completed that. They did a good job and they were quick. So I also have one thing on the list. I got a call from Angie this morning, and she had all of our road contracts for the road paving. And then you guys, I had sent out the bid tabs too. You guys looked over those. Do you want me to read those off, Martha? The bid tabs to see how they, came in place.
I mean, it's your call. You're welcome to. It's up to the trustees.
It'll be quick. We had 4 people come in for bid for our asphalt projects. The engineer's estimate came in at $318.36 and 50 cents. Melway came in at the lowest at $317,673.56. Carbo was the next one. They came in at $343,295 and 4 cents. And Chagrin Valley came in at $347,781 and 4 cents. And then Crossroads was the highest at $382.76. So I have the contracts. Once we pass a resolution, I'd like you guys all to sign, and then I will leave them in the office for Melissa to sign so I can get Angie her copy back, and then get Terry Melway, I'll get him his copy, and then get our copy, and then, that way we all have one. So, but other than that, that's about all I have for tonight.
So after talking with Mike and reviewing the bids, we've worked with Melway before. They've been very good. I'd like
Melway does a good job.
go ahead and make a motion to adopt resolution 040522. Contract with, pardon?
Oh, you were looking at me like you were.
If you have the rest. Contract with Melway Paving Incorporated for the Hinckley Township 2022 paving program at a cost of $317,673.56. Paving areas are Bellis Road, Oakview Lane, and Michelle Ridge.
Second. Asherle?
Yes.
Swidek?
I'm going to correct that to Oakwood Lane.
Oh, thank you.
Seconded.
You know what? That was
As
a cut
amended.
and paste from another thing. So somewhere else we did that too. So as amended,
As amended, second, Asherle. Yes.
you could just set them on the table, Mike. They can sign them after the meeting. Okay, so Asherle,
Yes.
Swidek,
Yes.
Augustine,
Yes. And I can come in and sign those tomorrow, Mike. I'm going to be in first thing in the morning.
Perfect.
Very good. Did you have anything else, Mike?
No, not tonight. I don't.
Okay.
Just before Mike goes, an intermediary for PERC has contacted him to move forward with the warranty work up on Maple Hill. And a different company will be doing it, and PERC will pay for the repairs. So that's moving forward.
That's kind of a perfect solution.
Yeah.
I don't have to deal with them anymore then, huh?
Okay. Jack, did you want to discuss the comp pay with Mike here? I know that's something that he'll be affected by.
I'm actually going to table that pending further discussion.
Okay. All right. Does anyone else have anything for Mr. Bahari?
No hands.
All right, Mike, thank you for coming in tonight.
Thank you guys for having me.
Under zoning, I have oaths for all the new zoning members have been completed. So we finally have 5 members to each board and 1 alternate to each board. The second item I'd like to discuss is the Mylars that we've been signing. Traditionally, we've been signing those Mylars for transparency purposes in meetings. There's no motion that's made. There's no decision that's made. It's just a signature. We did recently sign 2 outside of a meeting, one on Skyland Drive and one on Center Road. And wanted to have some discussion really quick with you guys. You know, sometimes this process where we wait to sign the Mylars in the meeting holds up the process for the folks that are doing the lot split or consolidation. Wanted to see what your thoughts were of just signing them as they're available and then mentioning them at the meeting, or do you feel it's necessary to keep signing them publicly within the meeting?
If it expedites the process, I don't see an issue with us signing them. And then, if you want to make a public statement about it, that should work. The decision has already been made prior to us signing them.
Correct. Trustee Astral, did you have any comments?
Yeah, no, I agree with that. We're not making the decision, we're just making it official. So
Very good. I will let.
if it goes quicker, then let's do it.
Okay, great. I will let Tom know because that's something that, he's been running up against with folks who are getting a little frustrated with the time constraint. So thank you for that.
Yeah, I know there was one a couple weeks ago on a Friday afternoon, I think. I was on the phone with him.
Mhm.
Trying to pick that up.
Very good. Okay, Jack, do you have anything for cemeteries?
I do not.
All right, Trustee Astral, the floor is yours.
Okay. I need to make a motion to adopt a resolution authorizing the fiscal officer to forward $1,145.77 to Kimball for the Hinckley Township unpaid trash second half 2021 property taxes in accordance with the paragraph 6.1 of the contract. Any delinquent charges that are collected pursuant to RC 505.31B, specific to assessments set out. $28.35 will go to Hinckley Township general funds from penalties applied by the Medina County Auditor for a total amount of $1,174.12 after the auditor's deduction of fees in the amount of $35.66.
Second.
Asherle?
Yes.
Swedek?
Yes.
Augustine?
Yes.
And then I would like to make a motion to go into executive session to discuss a township proctor applicant.
I'm just real quick, the language with this is,
Employment.
yeah, we need to be really
Hiring.
specific. So we can say we're going to, a motion to go into executive session to discuss
Hiring.
potential hiring or potential compensation, employment, but we have to be pretty specific with an executive session motion.
Is that what you're planning, Monique, to discuss
Yes.
compensation or hiring of?
Hiring.
Okay, you're good.
Should I amend it or?
We got it.
Okay.
Yeah, second.
Second.
Asherle?
Yes.
Swedek?
Yes.
Yes.
Augustine?
Would we like to do that at the end of the meeting then?
Yes, I would.
Yes.
That's all I have.
Very good. Trustee Swedek.
I just have three quick items. One is the fuel inventory control and use monitoring. Great Lakes reached out to me, provided a contract for us to sign to enter into that agreement, which did we already agree to do that?
Yes, last
Yeah, so-
meeting.
So we'll just sign that and get that back to him. He also gave me the spreadsheets for the data collection, and I'll be getting those out to the departments to fill in the required information. Next, I'd like to correct a trustee work session comment to indicate that it should have been Sharon and not Granger, who does not define the term resident for cemetery fees. So I make a motion for that?
No, you just mentioned
Okay.
that, right? So it's Sharon and not Granger.
Correct.
You said Granger and
I
it
said
was
Granger.
Sharon. Okay.
Just setting the record straight.
Correct. And finally, we got an invoice from Rob for some work they did. And we have two options with that. One is we don't pay clubs, so we should be paying a vendor, but more importantly, they should be coming to us first before expending any funds for an approval from the board. So we can go ahead and make arrangements to get this paid and set them on record going forward if you want to do that, or I can send them a notice saying that we can't pay it because we that's not the way this process was set up.
What's the amount?
$1,600, it's not a lot, but it's the fact that they went ahead and without an authorization.
Is there someone new now who's,
No,
no, same old?
Still President Euler.
Okay.
Mhm.
Has he ever, do we know history? Has this ever happened?
You know, I explained to Jack, I got the invoice today. I explained to Jack that there's a lot of different processes between the 3 townships.
Mhm.
And it's, Rod does know that we don't reimburse them. And they need to come in and talk to the trustees about their plans and what they might be requesting that the township would pay for. And I'm assuming he might have just, working with so many different townships, might have just gotten a little mixed up with who does it how, certain way.
Okay.
That's an assumption, but it's a likely assumption.
So pay it, but make sure they're clear moving forward, send an email and request a
Well,
response.
I would request that they come into one of your work sessions or regular meetings so you guys can sit down with all of them or whoever often is the board or representation of the board.
Mhm.
And you can discuss what their wants are for this year, what plans they want, what the township has set aside for capital improvements for the ball fields and just have that conversation.
Okay.
And that's what we've done in the past. So are you deciding then to pay the bill and just let them know for future this is the process?
I'm okay if you want to go ahead and pay it, but you know, my first inclination would be if he's been doing it for a while, he should know better. But I will defer to you two, if you, in the interest of community relations, if you want to pay it, I'm okay with that. I'll be meeting with him tomorrow, actually, and I can talk with him about it at that time.
I would say in the interest of community relations. I mean, if we pay it, but make sure moving forward, you know, when you meet with him tomorrow, that he's clear. And, you know, maybe after you meet with him, also send an email just so that there's kind of a paper trail also, so that we don't run into this again.
I will still invite him to a work session to talk with all 3 of us, but I will address it tomorrow. And if it was $10,000, I'd have a totally different attitude. So
what about 7?
Maybe even 7. Yeah.
There is a new contract with Raw, and maybe we can get a copy made that you can give to him again. I'm going to agree this time, like you said, because the pricing is low, but they know our process.
Okay.
You need a motion.
Do I need the amount?
Mhm.
Is it the 1,600? Did you give me that?
I sent you the motion on there. It should be on that email.
Same one?
Mm-hmm.
The same one as the Bellis one?
No, the same one where I sent you the invoice originally. Asked you to call me on it. I think it was 1505.96. You guys want to move on? I'll find that. I have it open.
All right, Jack, do you have anything else, or do you want me to move on with the comprehensive plan updates?
That was it for me. Thank you.
Okay, very good. As far as the comprehensive plan updates, we have a steering committee meeting on April 26th, as you both know, at 6:30 p.m. That is going to be specific to the survey questions. I have gotten feedback from residents and steering committee members who feel that the steering committee itself should just be working on the questions and limit the interaction with the public to the end of the meeting if time allows. We have given a lot of effort and ability for the public to participate in this process. We have a list. I made copies of every single email with every single question that the public had recommended for the survey. And so I wanted to see what your thoughts were on letting the committee do their job and really get down to the business and work on those questions so that we can move forward collectively on that April 26th meeting, which is next Tuesday.
I'm very much towards getting down to business and letting them do their job. But my hesitation with that is it's already been stated that everybody was going to get their chance to speak. So that would be where I'm like, maybe and I think you had mentioned this, Melissa, a week or two ago when we talked about it, is limiting, setting a timer, having an egg timer up here and everybody's limited to how much time they can speak. But I feel it's already been stated that the public would be able to interact and have input. I agree with you. There has already been a lot of public input and a lot of public interaction, but it's already been put out there that it would be a public meeting for interaction. So I would be a little weary of saying they can't speak until after.
Well, there still allows them to speak.
But didn't you just say speak after?
Yeah, after they're done with the questions, then they can take public comment, if any, and it would be limited because they really need to get these questions solidified so we can get the survey out and we're ready for our June meeting with Arthur.
Well, that's what I mean, is allowing them to have the public comment before the questions are created, because I think that's how it was presented to the public. It's just my opinion. I don't know how the two of you feel about it, but I feel that's how it was presented to the public.
That's how I presented it at the last meeting, but I've had a lot of input since that time, like I said, with people in the committee and from the public who say there's no way you're going to be able to get this done.
Mm-hmm.
Well, if you let the people speak after, then what is the committee going to take that information and redo the questions?
They could.
I feel that would be even more counterproductive. If you take the time to create the questions and then open it up to public comment, and then maybe we're going to redo some of these questions, I think that's even more counterproductive. I would just say allow it to have the public comment and tell everybody they're going to be timed on what they have to speak. What do we want to do? We want to agree right now? Do they have a minute? Do they have 2 minutes to speak?
If we give them 2 minutes, we will not get through the questions.
What do you think?
If we give two, we won't? Is that what you're saying? If we give 2 minutes, we won't?
Have you guys done sunshine law training?
Me?
Yeah. Have you guys done your sunshine law training? Because we don't have to even allow public comment in a public meeting. It's a luxury that we extend, a courtesy we extend to our citizens.
I agree with you and I understand that, but it's already been presented to the public that this is how it would be. I feel far more confident standing by with what we said that it would be versus changing our mind because we got some emails that way. That is strictly my opinion on it. I understand that we don't have to, but it's how we presented it to the public.
Trustee
So let's give them 90 seconds.
A minute and a half.
Split the
I
difference.
like it.
If you can't make your point in 90 seconds, then you shouldn't be talking.
Okay, I'm just making notes. I want the public to also understand that the survey questions that were given to us by Arthur are a draft version. There is a group that emailed those questions out to the public in one of their databases, and I started receiving them in my inbox in the office. They are just a draft. So our group will work on the final questions at the April 26th meeting. I did speak with Lynn. She's been working with the mail house with regard to the mailing of the survey. We had talked briefly at the April 26th meeting about incorporating registered voters into the mix so that if one household had 2 or 3 registered voters, they all had an opportunity to participate in the survey. We do not have numbers for that yet. We're still awaiting a quote for that, but once I get that, I will definitely let you know. Is that something that you're interested in, is allowing the registered voters and the households to each receive a mailing?
Yeah, I think so.
Aren't you going to duplicate your mailings? Or how?
The mail
They
house
would
will
all-
go through the
they would all go-
databases and collate them. So if you have 12 Ridge Road and there are 3 voters there, but it's also listed as a residence, the residence will be removed and the 3 voters will each get a survey. So they'll collate them.
Those 3 would go into one envelope then?
Well, I don't think that they would. I think they would be sent separately because they're listed separately on the voter registration database.
Could be a significant cost increase on that.
There will be a significant cost increase.
And how about office time on that?
All of this is going to go straight to Arthur. Once it comes back to us with the
No. I meant in assembling the mailing portion of it. Is that all going to be done by Angel Printing, or is that going to have to be determined and through the township office and then provided to Angel Printing?
We will be working on the residents by just adding the residents that have come into Hinckley since our last Kimball mailing. And the Angel Printing will go ahead and work with the mail house to merge the 2 databases.
From the Board of Elections.
Correct.
So you could potentially be doubling, if not, to be conservative, you could be doubling the mailing costs.
I would guess more
Absolutely.
than tripling.
Yeah, I like I said, I'm being conservative. And it
Absolutely. It was something that we wanted to look into. We had briefly discussed at the last comprehensive plan audit meeting. And so, in looking into it, I wish I had solid numbers, but I don't have any yet.
I
But we have to-
would think that 2 could go in one envelope.
But they won't do it
I
that
don't
way.
know how long it's going to be. And
Yeah, they have an automated system. That's why I asked if this was going to be done in-house or an automated system. An automated system is just going to take a voter and create an envelope, a mailing envelope for that voter, not
Right.
double stuff and sit there and say how many voters are in a household.
Correct. So if you look at a standard house that might have, college kid that just came back and is home for the summer, he's going to be getting one too, or she's going to be getting one too on top of mom and dad. And maybe grandma lives in the house. Everybody's family is different.
And is all this driven by somebody saying, well, I might not agree with my husband? Is that what?
That was the conversation. You were there.
I don't know that the number of those households would be enough to warrant increasing the price of the mailing by 3
Or 4.
or 4.
Mm-hmm.
Or do you just send it to the registered voters?
Well, that would not
That
be the
wouldn't change.
community though, because not every person who lives in the township is registered to vote.
Exactly.
So not only are you increasing your costs to mail them, you're also going to have to include in that mailing a self-addressed stamped envelope for them to mail it back.
Mm-hmm.
So it just, it's up to you guys. It's a significant cost to.
I'm more
you'll have
inclined to keep it with the
consider.
household. That's my preference.
And then I would be more inclined to keep it with the household, just based off of the last 2 surveys that have gone
Right.
out with the low
Response.
response rate. Because, if this is something that we're looking at doubling or tripling our cost, we have to be fiscally responsible with it. But it's just, I guess.
What
the way that
was
could
the
be done.
initial cost? Melissa, do you recall when it was just going to be mailed to every household?
Yes, ma'am. It was with postage, $2,344.51.
And that was a 2-sided black and white, one single sheet printed 2 sides black and white, correct?
Black and white with a self-addressed envelope. And then on the outside of the envelope, it would say township survey enclosed or important township survey enclosed.
And now, is the committee going to work to keep it a 2-page, just a single sheet then? Because that
It's possible to be a
draft survey was quite a few pages, wasn't it?
Yeah.
The draft was 2 front and back,
Was it-
like was quoted. And that was the reason we got that quote, because that's what Arthur had suggested. We could easily bring that size down based on the survey questions. It's my opinion that we don't need 20 questions.
It was 2 pages front and back.
Okay, so a total, it was,
I mean, it looked like it was 4 pages in the email.
okay.
Cindy said 4. She said 4. She's on the committee.
So that's double what was estimated on then at this time, on top of the printing isn't going to be,
Right.
it's not going to double the cost, the printing, but another consideration.
Yeah, no, I mean, it's the right thing to do to only send out 1 per house. Just, it's the right thing to do for the township with the fact that that would double the cost. And if we only get, what was it last time, less than 5% response?
It was very low. I'm
It
not
was
sure.
super low.
Okay, so we'll just send them to household. I just wanted to know before I start quoting, because once these survey questions are done, we'll have to move pretty quickly so that our citizens have time to get the survey and fill it out. All right. I was placed on this comprehensive plan steering committee by the last board of trustees to kind of smooth the transition as the new trustees came in. I really am disheartened by the fact that I found out that there's a special interest group that has been emailing this board and corresponding with them without including me. That's really not the spirit of cooperation that I like to work with. This special interest group really has worked to undermine the comprehensive plan audit process. And as trustees, I think we have equal ability and responsibility to engage in this process. So at this time, I'm going to be stepping down from the comprehensive plan steering committee in hopes that this board will work collectively and meet the obligation that we have to the public by working together and assume equal responsibility for the audit. I feel like it's just everything fallen on me personally with this comprehensive plan audit, and there's been minimal involvement from the other board members. And I think that we talked about a spirit of cooperation when you first came in, and I really think that we can work collectively really well together. I would just like some help with this process.
Have we not been helpful? I feel we've been as helpful as we felt we could be with it. We felt that we kind of had to have a hands-off approach to it because you were the liaison to it.
I think I'm expressing that I feel very alone in the process, and I would like us to work more collectively on it.
All right, I personally have received one individual outside email to me. That was it. And that was way early on in the process.
So at this time, I'd like just to make a motion to amend the comprehensive plan steering committee and remove myself from it.
So how is this going to work at the next meeting?
I'm not sure.
I feel like we need to figure this out now, how this is going to work at the meeting next week. I mean, there's one meeting left, and this really throws a wrench into it, is my feelings on it.
There are 2 meetings left.
Okay, but you're running, you had set this up and you were running this meeting next week, so.
I can still run it, but I need help. I cannot run a comprehensive plan by myself.
What do you need for help?
I've been sending every email. I've been running every copy. I've been proctoring. I've been organizing the minutes with the court reporter. I've been organizing Arthur. Anything that you think you can help with, I would gladly appreciate.
That is what I am asking right now. What can we do to help?
Any one of those things I just mentioned.
Okay.
I'll definitely do the proctoring. That's not a big deal. And any of the other emails you need us to respond to, to share them with us.
Very good. Can I have a second on my motion to be removed from the steering committee?
What does your stepping off the steering committee do? Does it, I mean,
It just gives us equal representation and ability and responsibility in this process.
I'm not comfortable with seconding it. We're 4 months into it.
it just seems like we're going to create a problem for that committee, Melissa, if you step off it. And I'm more than willing to back you up with whatever you need.
Yeah, with whatever you need help with, but I feel like this is coming out of nowhere from where I'm sitting, and I'm not comfortable seconding it and shaking it up again.
We all share the responsibility as the board. That goes without saying.
Okay, well, hopefully we can have some interaction and work together collectively for next week's meeting.
Thank you.
Just a reminder, the Memorial Day Parade and Ceremony is scheduled for May 30th, and it will leave our Lady of Grace Church at 9 a.m. If anyone wants to be a part of that, please let me know, and I'm happy to get you involved in the parade. Martha, the floor is yours.
Can I make this motion before you go?
Yes, you may, Jack.
I would like to make a motion to reimburse Rob for field improvements, the infield dirt, in the amount of $1,505.49 to be appropriated out of the Recreation Improvement of Sites Fund line.
Second.
Perfect. Asherle,
Yes.
Swidek,
Yes.
Augustine.
Yes. What was the invoice for? What do we
Infield
buy?
dirt.
Oh, okay.
Infield dirt.
Infield mud.
They
Right
bought,
now?
they bought dirt.
Do we want to discuss before Martha goes into it? Do we want to discuss the presentations from today?
Yes, that's on one of my Post-it notes in front of me.
Thought you were getting.
If I can go first, I think that we had a variety of vendors. It was very enlightening. I have to say, though, that my gut is to go with the first vendor. I think that Mark showed us his abilities just by bringing in a PowerPoint presentation and being able to see some of the before and afters was really interesting to me. I think he's most moderately priced. They're local, and their experience with municipalities will certainly be helpful in our endeavor.
Melissa, for the meeting notes, can you be more specific as to who the vendor was? So I wasn't there.
It was Mark
Proximity.
Yeah, Proximity. I'm just looking for his business card here. Proximity Marketing. They were the first vendor we heard from today.
I'm with Melissa. I really was very impressed with Proximity Marketing. I thought they all did a really good job. I've got good notes on all of them. You know, they all brought something unique to the table, I felt. But Proximity Marketing had more wow factors to me than anybody else for all the reasons that Melissa just noted. You know, they have done municipalities. I like the fact that they've done Medina County. So they're very familiar with that. And one thing that stuck out in his presentation that I have heard mentioned in our meetings before was that search. That's a really, it digs down so that people can search easily and find what they're looking for. So he was my choice as well.
I tried to save you all time 3 weeks ago. I'm just saying.
We went with Jack's guy.
Jack won.
And I think the scoring proves out from everything I saw. I don't know if you looked at the other ones as well, Melissa, but the scoring that Mike Schroll did as well, it looked like it aligned with what we're saying too.
Yes. And Lynn and Suzanne, I think, supported the
Correct,
same.
yeah. They didn't actually score though. They commented heavily.
And Jen too. Jen had recommended.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And I appreciate their input.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely.
It was good. I enjoyed it though. So we're going to have a new website pretty soon. New and improved.
Yes,
can start this week.
For those that didn't go, once
Should-
they get going, he said 2 to 3 months, it should be operational.
Should we make a motion now if we're in agreement so we can set up a meeting next week or
Do you have a contract?
no, do we need the contract before we can make?
Well, you need to know what your
There
contract is.
was a contract.
Yeah, there's a,
We're all scrambling.
There's a contract in the back of that manila folder.
Did he provide so this 5,500 to 7,000 is the entire cost of services for everything he presented?
Yeah, for what he presented.
that was the projected, which he said they're generally on the lower end of that.
So you could make a resolution to hire for an amount not to exceed 7,000. We do not give money. We give money when it's completed. So I don't know if that's a problem with his billing terms. We don't give money up front. We don't give money at 30 days. He can bill us when a portion of his services, but we don't pay anybody until the work's
I think
completed.
he said they were flexible with that also.
Okay.
And there was also the option, there were other options too, as well as, adding on a maintenance contract, though those would be separate.
Yes.
Well, what do you guys want him to do right now as a condition of what he presented today?
That would get us going. What he
Yeah,
presented
if you
us
want
today.
him to begin
Mhm.
the update,
Mhm.
then you can make that resolution to hire. Were there any other requirements you guys had or anything else you had to see from him? Is he bringing in additional people or he's one-man band?
He's got his
He has a
whole.
team of 10.
As a team, yeah.
Yeah, a team of 10 in Medina. And I think they all said,
You know,
like what we would,
I would think, my recommendation is you guys can always add it to your work session,
okay.
special meeting items, but it seems like you might want to, you can approve to hire
Mhm.
pending the submission of a contract for the work, but that's
with
not
appropriate
really,
terms.
yeah, that's not really a contract. Much
Okay.
like you guys have for OHM, where they are physical consultants that come in and do
Mhm.
that. They had a
Mhm.
2-page boilerplate
Sure.
contract about that. So you can make it
So we can
pending
approve
that.
to hire, meet with them and get the contract and make sure we're ironing everything out
Mhm.
and then make the resolution.
Yeah, and then you can further define the resolution as to price and structure.
Okay.
And we'll have to get the contract to the prosecutor's office.
Yeah, I don't know about that. That's up to you guys, but I'm sure it's a boilerplate contract about fees and performance. But that's up to you. If you want to do that, that's fine. That would be my recommendation. Or you can wait and get the contract, have it reviewed and do it at the work session. How much time is it going to save you?
2 weeks.
I think it's
Well, you
smarter just to do it right the first time. Let's get in touch with Mark, have conversation with him about the payment process and how we can finagle that to suit our needs and get a clear and concise contract that goes to the prosecutor, and then we'll move forward.
I can do that.
Thank you, Jack. You won.
His guy.
His guy. He's got a guy.
Just for everybody here, this is the same guy that took the county website like 10 years ago now and created something that's been very useful for them. And I knew that going in, and I asked him to come and make a presentation. So I think he knocked it out of the park.
The one thing I would recommend, because right now you're making an assumption of a hire, that I would make a motion tentatively choosing this vendor based on him providing you guys a formal contract. Because
Okay.
you can't really go tell him you got the job when you guys haven't had your vote to hire him.
Would you like
Follow
to
me?
make the motion? Yeah. Do you want to make the motion to hire your guy?
We'll make a motion to hire Proximity Marketing for the redevelopment of the Hinckley Township website, pending the provision of a formal contract.
Second.
Sounds good. Asherle?
Yes.
Swedek?
Yes,
Augustine?
Yes.
Okay, just coming up with those.
it was on the cup.
And Martha, whenever you're ready for the fund status.
You know, the only thing I would add, if you can amend your motion for an amount not to exceed $7,000.
As amended.
Thank you.
Seconded as amended.
Okay, Asherle?
Yes.
Swedek?
Yes.
Augustine?
Yes.
All right, so,
And I'll collect all the sheets and just put them in a folder and file them
okay.
so Martha said anyone can do that. If you want me to keep them or if you want me to give them to Suzanne to file, we can do that.
It gave Martha mine.
Yeah, it doesn't matter where they're filed, but that everybody who participated and filled one out needs to submit it to someone for record retention
Got it.
purposes. Right now, the fund status is $7,053,438.31, of which $1,064,505.65 is a pooled Star Ohio investment. And there's $5,988,932.66 in the primary checking. Chief Sentner asked me to let you guys know that the motion that was made last meeting for the Bay Point batteries, I think it was $590, was actually for 4 batteries and he only needed 2. So the actual invoice you're going to sign the check for today is half as much. You guys don't need a particular motion for it because it's less than, but just as a FYI on that. Other thing is I will need, right there, you guys have a letter and for Sean Landis. He is a member of our police department, and through the OPBA contract, he has waived his health insurance benefits, and the contractual language allows him a biannual payment of $1,200 as a reimbursement. So if somebody wants to say so moved.
So moved.
In a second.
Second.
And if anybody has any questions. Statutorily, we're not able to do that for other employees, but the union contract, the CBA overrules the statutory allowances on that. So that is why we are providing that to him. Asherle?
Yes.
Swedek?
Yes.
Augustine?
Yes.
So real quick, and we don't have to discuss this. It's something that I can forward you guys information on, but over the years, I've probably been unnaturally worried about when this roof goes on this town hall, because we're approaching 25, 30 years on the original remodel of this place. And so I did find some information. I know nothing about solar panels, solar shingles, anything like that. But what I do know is right now, especially with a lot of the federal funding, there does seem to be some grants and things out there to support that type of direction for something. I did find one that's funding notice renewable, advancing community energy resilience. The acronym is RACER, and it's through the Department of Energy Efficiency and Renewable Energy. Did you even know we had that at the federal level? But what's kind of neat is that the grant, what it provides for, and it's, I think, it's $25 million or maybe more. I have it in this somewhere. It's a significant amount of funding through the federal government, but it promotes community services and how a community works together and different stakeholders. And one of the things about this building that unfortunately we have never been able to resolve because of the way the electricity is laid out in this building is a generator. And so, Mr. Pearl, correct me if I'm wrong, but if we had renewable energy solar panels on this building, would we be able to bring the public in a storm or something like that without having a generator here? A generator powered by the electrical grid, I should say.
Depending on your battery capacity.
At night?
Well, right now we have nothing. Right now we have no way to provide this building
Right.
with a generator because of the way the electricity is set up currently in it.
So Richard Pearl, King Road, you would have to have a, what's called a power wall or a battery to store that energy. And typically in a residence, what you look for is 48 hours of usage or even 72 hours. Because within 72 hours, it's hopeful the sun will come out again and at least give you a partial recharge of that battery.
In Hinckley? I was here this morning. There was no sun.
Was it sunny yesterday?
It was really.
I made more yesterday. I made 10 times as much energy yesterday on my house as I used.
Nice. And that's a sellback.
Pardon?
You sell that back then?
And net metering, it goes back to the grid.
Very nice.
I don't have a battery yet.
Thank you, sir. Well,
Can I answer other questions?
Well, it fits in with the mission of the grant, I guess, that you're serving the public by incorporating this technology, by applying for this grant. It's very this, and I'll certainly send you a copy if you're interested.
Yes, I am.
Of this that I found. But it's really kind of when I was reading it and I'm like, gee whiz, how do you get those stakeholders and what do you do? We don't have a Red Cross facility here because in Hinckley, but absent Our Lady of Grace, which I think they pulled out of. Don't quote me on that, but because we just don't have capacity for generator. PD has one, but we're not going to get many residents, elderly residents, in the event of a significant weather-related events.
So the efficiency of individual solar panels has maxed out for now till there's new technology, a breakthrough. And the cost, because we're not getting them from China because of the 25% tariff, it would mean American-made panels. The
That's
cost
a
is down.
prerequisite of the grant
Okay.
through the Biden
Right.
administration.
And I think this all started with thinking about putting a roof on. You certainly would never put solar panels on an older, especially a 25-year-old roof, because if there's leakage, you'd have to remove them all. There could be breakage. and then put them back on. So the time to put them on is on top of a new roof.
How do you feel about the shingles? The solar shingles, or I
New
think,
technology, very expensive.
yeah. Well, anyway, guys, I'm just planting the seed.
That's a great comment there, Martha. Good find.
Need a roof. It's gonna cost us, I won't say a bad word, but a lot of money.
Boatload.
Boatload. Boatload's a good.
Now we got to find a quote that'll come in 10%.
And there's also state, there's.
There are many
Not been able
grants.
to do
There are
it
many
well yet,
grants.
but-
Yeah,
There are many grants, and there will be more grants with this,
yeah,
with the current administration. There were almost no grants with the last administration.
right. So it's just something the roof isn't leaking yet, but you know, if we can,
But we want to get it before it starts leaking.
And the township is in a position where I think you have 5 major electric bills coming in every month.
oh, and we have
5 major,
15, 16.
right, but 5 major ones. The
Yeah.
power you generate here, if there was excess, you would not have to sell back to the grid as a producer. Instead, you could use it internally for all buildings you wanted to connect.
I'd say the obviously building wise, the fire department averages between $800 and $900 a month, any given month of the year. No matter
I've seen the
what.
bill, yeah.
Yeah. Police is the second. They're going to average $600-700, but when the air conditioner's on, then that's up. This one is actually, with not having that side used much, this one is relatively,
Mhm.
I'm going to say 300 around there.
Well, we ran a heating pad today.
Uh-oh. That'll skew us. But again, you know, I think, obviously 350 Hinckley is a great stakeholder community partner. That's one of the prerequisites in here, a need, Buy American, all kinds of good stuff. So
350 Hinckley has been gently for 4 years trying to talk to the township about solar panels. The fire station has an excellent south-facing roof. I would think the architect put that in there for a reason.
yeah, at the time it was cost prohibitive, but it was something that was
And-
discussed.
And certainly 350 Hinckley did try to get involved with the police station addition to talk to the architects about focusing on the south-facing roof so that eventually at some time solar panels could be put on there with high efficiency. But maybe to your comment, Jack, solar panels are efficient. I have 14 panels on my house.
I wish I had them.
My bill this month was $2.21. I had a credit of $4.08 from last month.
Mine was a little bit higher.
What's your return on investment, Ben?
It'll be about 6 years,
6 years.
Right.
How far are you in?
3 years.
So almost 10 years.
Yeah. Oh, it'll be actually 6 years total. It could be.
Considering the way it's going up, it'd probably be faster.
Mhm.
Just something to consider.
Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you. And then the final thing is that I have to submit the first report for the current coronavirus state and local, it's called the State and Local Fiscal Recovery Fund. There's an acronym also. And we're considered, we get the money from the state. We don't get it from the federal government. We're considered a non-entitlement local government. But I do have to report on the 30th what our plans are for the money. Now, you guys don't have to decide, but what I need right now is I need a reason to submit with the report of why we don't exactly know what we're going to do with the money yet. And you guys can discuss it at the work session. And then you can just give me just a brief couple sentences because that is one of their requirements. So I do think before the next reporting period, you guys are probably going to have to develop an idea of how you'd like to use the funds, even though you don't have to contract them out or expend them for a number of years. That the government wants to know what you guys have in mind. So
What's the
that's
total amount?
the total amount's going to be right around $900,000 and change. We've only, I want to say, maybe it's 866,000
Sounds
roughly.
about right.
So we've only gotten the first tranche. We'll get the second tranche sometime in May.
And where are the list of uses? Because it's increased since they initially.
I will forward you guys the information. They just, a few months ago, they revised their uses. I did forward you guys a week or so ago a resolution from a law firm that was forwarded to me by Montville
I
Township.
saw that, yeah.
And that outlines the contracting. It kind of streamlines the the purposes and makes it easier for the townships to expend the funds. I'm not sure. I don't know if that's going to be appropriate for us, if we're going to just do large projects, small projects. I have no idea. But again, you guys do need to familiarize yourself with the uses. I'll forward you that, and you're going to have to start talking about it.
And is that April 30th? We have to have the report?
No, all I need from you is just an explanation that you're working on it. You may be considering some type of whatever, and I have to submit that couple lines of explanation with the report that says we have not expended any funds yet, nor have we awarded any contracts or
But you said that was April 30th, not May 30th.
April 30th.
Okay.
We're going to get we will get the second tranche of money in May.
Okay.
And then
So Jack and Monique, the Ohio Township Association sends us an email every Friday. And in that email every Friday has been a link of the uses for the ARP funds. And that they break it down for every township to understand, and it has expanded greatly. Initially, it was just for infrastructure needs specific to water and internet, but they really have expanded those uses.
I think there was a good article also in the last Township Association magazine too. You guys look at it and familiarize yourself and
Talk about it on Wednesday or on
well,
Tuesday.
yeah, you guys can talk about it for months.
Right.
If you want. I just need a brief
You need a couple lines.
explanation.
Yep.
And
Gotcha.
that's it for me. I'm sorry to take up too much time.
Very good, Martha. Thank you. So at this time, I'd like to make a motion to pay the bills for $96,709.42.
Second.
Asherle?
Yes.
Swedek?
Yes.
Augustine?
Yes.
That's our electric bill right now.
Yeah, what?
Any questions from any
2,200.
before we want to do questions, audience, before we go to executive session?
I don't see any virtual hands raised.
I don't see any actual
Wait a
hands
second, here it
raised.
comes.
Oh.
Here we go.
I was quiet this morning.
You saved it up.
Yeah, I did. I have two questions for you, Mr. Swedek. I think they're both for you, and they are about roads or signs, I mean. Is the sign on the new cemetery wall considered complete? Can you give us an update on that?
I will find out an answer for you.
Okay. Were we talking about engraving the stone?
Yes.
Is that last year?
Yes.
Discussed?
Yes.
Okay.
A lot of effort went into that from September through December. You may want to look at the minutes. And then the Gibson property that was given to the township. Are we actively working on a sign for that?
Yeah.
Can you update us?
I've got information on, I'm going to meet with Mr. Gibson to see exactly what kind of language he'd like to have on there.
Okay.
But, yeah.
And then I have one question. I might have only one question concerning the steering committee. We spent $7,500 to hire OHM to guide us and recommend things. And we seem to be making a decision, a dollar decision on the cost of the survey. And I kind of heard some words there that we're actually thinking of maybe not even 2 pages as presented in the draft survey, and maybe not color. But that was the recommendation of OHM that we were paying $7,500 to, even though some of that is a grant. But obviously, the previous trustees worked hard to get that grant. So
if you're addressing that to me, I'm not entirely satisfied with the direction that they've taken so far.
Mhm.
So I would like to get some additional input from him at this next meeting, or
well, the next meeting is going to be a workshop
meeting
with the survey.
relative to how he wants to go. My understanding was this was going to be an audit of the existing comprehensive plan, not looking at changes to zoning. And it seems to me that the bulk of those questions are driven by zoning changes.
Mhm.
So, with that being said, I would, even though you're saying, well, are we going to cut down to 1 to 2 pages or whatever? That's going to be whatever comes out of the committee.
That's what?
The number of questions will be what comes out of the committee.
Mhm.
But the content of those questions, I believe that we should weigh in on at some point to say, is that an appropriate, ask the question, do you feel that's appropriate? And how is this addressing an audit of the existing plan? That's what I think each and every one of those questions should be. That's my opinion, not exactly that of the board. You can ask the other trustees.
Okay.
I think I understand the color, the black and white and the color, but I think, because I agree with that, but I also think that comes down to what does it look like after this next meeting? What do the questions look like? Because if we're not going to actually have the maps in there, because to me, that's where it was important to me to see the color differences when you have the maps, because they're easier to read. It's just me. Maybe you're thinking something completely different. Maybe maps won't be in the questions. I think that we need to have this next meeting to see what exactly is that going to look like before we go in absolute one way or the other with that.
And that's my concern, is we're starting to talk about dollar savings before we've actually had that workshop. And come up with a revised survey.
I think.
Well, my comment relative to that cost savings was, I think, as Monique said, the past several surveys were done to a household. And I don't think saying that 1 or 2 individuals saying, well, there might be a difference in my household, so we should get multiple votes.
Mhm.
I don't know if I agree with that. And that's why I said, is that added cost, doubling or tripling the cost of that mailing worth that? Especially considering the response level from the last several surveys.
When would you be comfortable commenting on it? The trustees have allowed the steering committee to be autonomous so far, pretty much autonomous.
Well, correct. That's why that you folks were there to help facilitate that.
Mhm.
At the end of the day, we're hoping that the consultant is the one that brings us a final product. And then we'll be able to discuss with him, it's my understanding, whether or not that's acceptable to us.
Okay. I did send a email to the 3 trustees today just before noon. I hope you will read it and look at it and maybe be willing to comment on it at the workshop. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Pearl.
Can I just, so Monique or Mr. Pearl, that I don't really read all these emails from Arthur, but
I did send a copy to you also.
yeah, I know. But as far as color on or 4-page, 6, whatever it might be, there could be easily a reference to a link on the township webpage that would act as directions on all the maps. you don't necessarily have to print color maps on 2,500 mailers that go out. You can say, please refer to hinckleytownship.org, and then you can have that map right there under a special tab. And if people are really interested in it to answer their question or prepare themselves, they can certainly access it on the website or have color, copies from our copy
But see,
machine
that's-
available here to pick up.
And that's what goes on in the committee as well. You talk, you were like 1 page, 2 page, 4 pages, color charts. The more complex you make it, the less likely somebody is going to respond to it.
The harder you make it, that you have to go on the township website and look at the zoning resolution.
That was the comment I was making. If there's another step in
Yeah,
there for
it's
them.
adding an, I agree.
The harder you make it, the lower the response is what
I
I'm trying to
agree.
finish saying.
But
And what we're looking for is a high
you have to
response.
consider the cost.
Well, I am
You
considering.
always have to consider the
Certainly.
cost, and because that's, we can see our general fund and we can see our police line, we can see all these lines. But I don't know how many people in this room sit there and think if the board approves $1,500 for infield dirt without a motion at a raw field, which I support wholeheartedly, don't get me wrong, well, then it's coming away from something else. So as we're talking about the comprehensive plan audit there was a grant. And so the trustees have made accommodations because the transparency public records request to make sure everything's documented accurately, to hire a court reporter. Additional costs, no problem.
Right.
But when we begin to add cost after cost after cost, there has to be an adjustment in something else. And so the adjustment comes in wages for office personnel. It comes into the amount of concrete work that the trustees will be able to do. It goes into buildings if we do need a new roof on this. So yeah, just because we have a lump of money doesn't mean that we can just chip away at it without consequence. So yes, not for one moment do I take back a comment that I would like the trustees to consider the double or tripling or potential quadrupling of the cost of what was discussed here. That's my job.
Of
All
course.
right? Fair enough?
Yes.
Okay.
I guess my final comment would be if you're going to spend $7,500 on OHM and $900 perhaps 3 times, another $2,700, correct me if I'm wrong, on the court reporter, you're making a $10,000 investment. But I think you want a product that the residents can find easy to fill out the survey and put back in the mail without necessarily going to the website unless they really want to research it.
And that's fine. I mean, that was just something as a salve to hopefully try to find a compromise in the conversation.
And I thank you for being frugal. I like seeing that amount of money. Things will come up and, places to spend that.
Oh, yes, without a doubt.
Thank you, Mr. Pearl. Are there any other questions or comments from the audience?
None here.
Okay, at this time, would like to adjourn into executive session at 8:03 p.m.
How do you do that? Everyone has to leave this room?
No, we're going to call.
They're going to call me.
Are we leaving the room, she was saying, or they?
No, we're going into the
We're
board,
to leave.
into the boardroom. We're calling.
Oh,
We're gonna call her out.
Monique, you'll have to mute.
Yep.
I'll talk to you after. Oh, did you?
Oh,
Thank you.
you almost got out, Heidi. You almost made it. I was heading that way too.
What?
Nothing.
All right, at this time, I'd like to adjourn out of executive session at 8:13 PM with no decision.
Second.
Seconded by Asherle.
Want us to leave?
All in
Okay,
favor,
yeah.
say aye.
Thank you.
Aye.
Aye. All right, and if there's nothing further from the audience, I'd like to adjourn the meeting at 8:13 PM.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Hi.
Aye. Thank you, guys. Have a great night.
Night.
Bye, Heidi.